Hello everyone, Warangel here, and welcome back to the jungle adventures of Clan Pestilens. Now, first of all, sorry for not being an episode on Friday. I just had a sore throat, and luckily it wasn't COVID or anything like that, just a sore throat. So, wasn't really in the best position to be talking, especially for a long period of time. But, yeah, feeling much better now, so we're going to be continuing the campaign today as per usual. So, speaking of the campaign, as you might tell from the time counter down here, we've skipped forward a couple of turns. Not too much, just long enough for me to move some armies in position for the next part of the campaign. But one thing I did do was something that was quite overdue, to be honest, and that was to go through all of my armies and rename the units so they have a bit more personality to them. Now, I want to take a minute or two just to go through them, so if you want to skip past all of this and get straight to the campaign, go through the next section of the video timeline. Otherwise, if you're sticking around after this point, I presume you're interested. So, unfortunately for this campaign, I didn't have as many viewer submissions as I did for the Musilon campaign, so a lot of these are my own creations, and I'll be honest, I'm not exactly the best when it comes to naming Skaven units. But I've given them a try, and so, with that said, let's first start with our faction leader himself, Lord Skrolk. Let the game have a second. There we go. Now, there was one or two that were used, and I'll make sure to post them up with backstories when they appear. But with Lord Skrolk, we've got Lord Skrolk, obviously, Skalpeg and Vecteek. We've got the Council Guard, a regiment of renown that I've replaced a unit of clan rats with spears for, just because we have got to quite a prestigious level. I thought it was quite fitting at this point to get some storm vermin instead of just the clan rats we've been using. So we've got these guys. We've renamed the Censer Bearers then to the Herald Bearers of Plague. I was going to try to make them the Herald Bearers of Pestilence, but didn't have enough room in the character limit, so there we go. We've got Ixa's Triads. We've got 3 units then of the Chosen of Pestilence. Sorry, 4 units of Chosen of Pestilence. And then got Vermex Spears for our clan rats with spears. We've got the Teeth Breakers, of course. And then we've got 3 units of Sag's Sneak Killers for our Night Runners with slings. We've then got the Helion, our Mutant Rat Ogre. And then we got the 2 units, Plagues from the Sky, which I thought was quite a fitting name for Plague Claw Catapults. So that's these guys. We then got Cyprus, who I'm going to come back to in just a moment. And then we got our new army. This is the army that was going to be a combination of Clan Scry and Clan Molder troops. So, leading it is a Warlock Master called Mormel, with a Packmaster, Garrett, and a Chieftain, Icbolt the Contagious. Quite a fitting name for, in my mind, a follower of Clan Septic. But anyway, we got the Avalanche Mortars for Deathglobe Mortars. We got Natty Bubbo's Sharpshooters. Joining them then, we've got Mormel's Special Delivery, our own Poison Wind Mortar team. We got Ratty Kin's Shooters for our Jazel units. We got the Thing, a Hellpit Abomination. We've got the Terror Below, a burrowing behemoth that I've never seen before. I believe it comes from the Molder Menagerie mod, but if it isn't, well, we're going to find out what it looks like on the battlefield anyway at some point. But next to them, we've got Slayer Thing and Slasher Thing, our 2 Mutant Rat Ogres. We've got here, Mormel's Pet Thing, a Brood Horror. Again, no idea what this looks like, apart from it looks like a giant vicious rat. Looking forward to Mormel having a pet on the battlefield, you know? But next to these, we've got not 1, not 2, but 5 units of Clan Molder's Best, our armoured rat ogres. Now, are they necessarily the best? I don't know, but that's what it says on their armour anyway. So we'll have to take them at their word. After that then, we've got the Destroyer of Foe Fiends for our 2 Warp Lightning Cannons. And then we've got Ickett's Wares, which has got a slight backstory on screen right now. Unfortunately, I can't remember who submitted the name, but yeah, that's one of the viewer submissions. And then finally, we have Bubba Rat, the Pox Templar, along with Slicin and Unlock a Shani. But joining them now, we've got, of course, Visktrin's Death Squad. We've got 2 units of the Septic Guard, given that Bubba Rat is part of Clan Septic. We've got the Plague Rats, who was a viewer submission, but I don't think they had a name or a backstory. But I've used the name nevertheless. So there we go, the Plague Rats. We've then got Clan Septic Spears for our Clan Rats here. We've got Traktil's Silent Killers for our Gutter Runners, as well as Smock's Sneakers then for our 2 units of Night Runners with Slings. We've then got the Horned Rat's Fury for our Rat Ogres, and then finally Ikkit's Zap Zap for the Warp Lightning Cannon. Right, that took a little while to go through all of them, Jesus. Anyway, now let's get back into the campaign proper. So, like I said, I've skipped forward a couple of turns and basically moved units into position for the next part. So if I go back to Lord Skrolk a minute. Now, originally I was going to move him up through the centre of Lustria, but unfortunately over at the Great Citadel Isle, you can see here, if I can get past the light storm, we've got some traitors laying siege to the capital. And if I click on these guys a sec, and go to attack, the balance bar is not in my favour. And given what we've got there, I don't particularly want to use them against Rat Ogres. So, if they attack, but what I'm going to try and do is get Lord Skrolk to go over there and deal with them, as well as the Chaos Army that's appeared here. And then we're going to send them along the coast, go after the Blood Hall, the Pillars of the Unseen Constellation, and so on and so on. We've got Cyprus then, that's going after Hualotl. The Beastman burnt it down in the previous turn, if I remember right. No, 2 turns ago. So I've sent him up to colonize it. And then over here then, I've decided to actually go after Itza instead of the settlements here right away. Just because Itza is a very prime region. It's not only a former capital, so it's got a ton of building slots, but it also has a unique landmark building, which I think this must be it here, the Emerald Pools. So yeah, I don't have any idea what Coca Kalima units are, but apparently we get them at a reduction. But yeah, casualty replenishment, growth, and it has a gold mine as well. So between those, I figured it'll be a good target for us, and then we can focus out then on taking the rest of the Northern Great Jungle. So, Mormel has moved into position using the Underway, and so Bubble Rat is going to lead the attack. Now, if we move forward, let's have a look-see. Okay. Now, the reason why the garrison is actually quite weak at the moment is because in the previous end-turn phase, Lockyer Fellheart actually attacked the settlement with Marcus Wolfheart and this other small army here outside it. Got defeated, and then Marcus has walked off into the fog of war somewhere over here. So I'm willing to take the opportunity when he's not here to actually attack it. Now, let me see. I wonder if... does that make a difference? It does, right. So if we really wanted to, we could deal with the handgunners and afterwards. Yeah, we'll go for that. So let's grab some uses of the menace below. We don't want to go too crazy, but we've got a ton of food. And the other reason, of course, I want to take Itza is because, as you can see, we're kind of hemorrhaging money right now. That's mainly because of Cyprus costing us nearly 2,000 warpstone tokens just for existing until we capture Halloumi. So, oh no, I was going to try and say Halloumi for some reason. Anyway, let's go give that to you for the other Septic Guard, and let's fight the battle. Right then, everyone, here we are outside the walls of Itza as the forces of the Pox Templar make their way towards the walls. And I tell you, if I was an Imperial soldier and I saw this vermin tide heading towards me, I'd be shitting myself a bit, you know? Anyway, if I head back to this and actually zoom out a minute to the tactical view, I can show you guys what's going on. So, upon starting the battle, we can see that the enemy have deployed pretty much all of their forces along this section of the wall here, which is fine. They've obviously saw that I was sending in the Plague Rats as well as the Clan Septic Spears in order to attack this section of the wall. But it also means that we've got a stealth force, leading of things like the Snock Sneakers, Alaka Shani, and so on, the Clan Eshin troops, who are going to be making their way to this section of the wall in order to climb it and hopefully attack the enemy from behind. While they're doing that then, we're just basically doing a mass assault on the walls. Like I said, the Plague Rats are making their way along to this section, the Clan Septic Spears along this section, and even the Septic Guard are going to be making their way up onto this section of the wall here. So if we speed things up a little bit, it's going to take a little while for them to actually get in position to attack. And not only are we attacking the walls, but we're also sending in the Rat Ogres, the Horned Rat's Fury, to go after the gates to hopefully smash them down and be able to bring in troops like Bubble Rat in order to help out. Now, with Bubble Rat, I was originally going to put him over here. Then I remembered that Plague Monks tend to be pretty low on armor, so I figured if we have him running around with his high armor and health, he should be able to keep the troops alive a little bit longer if the enemy decide to focus on him. So that's what he ends up doing. He takes a bit of damage, but on the whole, he's relatively okay. Now what I'm also doing as well though is attacking this particular tower without warp lightning cannons. Doesn't do as much damage as I would have liked, but that's okay. It's one of those things. Now I did want to just show this off quickly, because one thing I love about Creative Assembly and the fact they've done this game is the attention to detail. And during the battle, I had a look at the warp lightning cannons, and just to notice little details like see this just see this little rat hanging on with his telescopes doing the sighting while the rest are sort of blasting away with the warp lightning, well, the warpstone inside the cannon here. It's just so cool. Just the fine little attention to details when you see stuff like that. Or if we head over here a minute and you check out Bubba Rat. Right, his brood horror that he writes, you better see it. It's just little potentials of detail, like how scraggy it looks. You can still see its skin and that underneath. The fact that it's blind as well, I believe. If I can just get close enough to its face. Oh, the game's not going to let me. But it looks pretty blind to me, and just, ugh, it looks disgusting. But the attention to detail is just really cool. Anyway, at this point now, our ladders are starting to dock pretty much along the entire length of the wall. These septic spears have taken a few casualties from the artillery, but luckily for me, the plague rats have actually managed to do pretty okay. Now, to try and provide a bit of support, I end up casting Plague on the units up here. Funny enough, it cast it down here, but it's area of effect, so it did a ton of damage to enemy units up on the top, including weakening the swordsman unit and the handgunners here and crossbows. Now they're of course going to be firing away. My main characters are taking some damage, but on the whole, we're telling to be relatively alright. Just trying to boost up the Plague Monks here at the moment, going after the Halberdiers. But the main thing I was a bit concerned about was actually over here. As you saw, we are getting attacked by the enemy mortars, and so I summoned a unit of clan rats, hoping that we'll be able to do enough damage to the Empire Knights. And the battle's actually going relatively okay for our unit, which was surprising, given that it told me it was a bad target for me. But while that's still going on, unfortunately, we can't do much more. So over here, though, the gates have smashed open, meaning that the rat ogres are showing the fury of the horned rat, which just slamming straight into the halberdiers. And you can just see the blood and gore going everywhere. It's so good. Now, of course, we also got Bubble Rat leading the charge. We've also got Vectech and the other units of the Horned Rat's Fury charging in. So between all of these, it's going to be enough just to drive the halberdiers away. Now, while that's all happening, of course, we've managed to capture the section of the wall pretty well. I'm starting to bring down our Plague Rats just to come and attack the units that are hovering around here. But while that's also happening, if I head over to the side a minute, you can see that the Clan Eshin forces have climbed the walls, and I've started sending them in to go after the enemy cavalry and their mortar crews. Now, by the time they arrived, you can already tell the Empire Knights were about to retreat, but we still had the Imperial Captain to deal with. So what I ended up doing was sending Alaka Shani to go after him. We've got the Silent Killers going after the mortars, and already they're starting to retreat. And really at this point, the battle is won. You can see we're already starting to capture the plaza, which is really good. We're just focusing now on killing off the last remaining units, trying to get them to break as soon as possible. We've already dealt with the halberdiers over here, so the Horn Rat's Fury and Bubba Rats are going after now some great swords that have made their way over towards them. I've also got, like I said, the monks unfortunately are taking a bit of time just because there's a couple of crossbowmen that this unit is trying to kill off. And halberdiers, and because of that, these guys are just sort of stuck behind them until I can eventually move them out, which they're slowly doing, as you can see here. Now at this point, the enemy is going to be a little stuck. We've got all our rat ogres and bubble rat, of course, leading the assault here. Got some units like the handgunners valiantly trying to fire away and provide support for the great swords running away. And we've got some here as well, just hanging on for dear life. But at this point, they break, and the entire enemy force has shattered. It's a victory for us, a decisive victory as that, as you can see. And it's time to make our way back to the campaign map and take the spoils of Itza for ours. So there we go, decisive victory, and Itza belongs to us. To be honest, I was expecting a little bit more food though, but I suppose we're about to take it anyway, so I can't complain too much, can I? Anyway, let's go for all of these, hit that. 18,500 tokens. Okay. Right, give the game a minute to catch up. What's that army doing? Right, it hasn't actually moved that far away from Itza. So, once the game makes up its mind, thank you, we can skip through all of this. Let's get Bubawat to go after the enemy army a minute. Okay, that's a pretty easy fight. There we go. Right. How much do I get out of this one? I'll go for a little bit more food. There we go. Picked up the Talisman of Preservation as well. Excellent. And then we can go back to Itza. Where? How far do I want to boost up the level? It's only going to cost us food, don't forget. We have a ton of food. So we could use up a half a bar in order to raise it completely to level 5. Let's do that. There we go. We'll give it some time, obviously, to re-establish the garrison. I don't actually know what we have. Rat ogres, storm vermin. It's a bit on the small side, isn't it, to be honest? I suppose it is unoccupied, it's not actually a capital, you know? Anyway, let's spend some of our money to get a gold smelter. Let's have a look. The emerald pools. Right. As tempting as it is, I don't know, we'll come back to that, because at the moment, don't forget, we are still hemorrhaging money, so I'd rather focus on stuff that might help us get out of that problem. So, for example, if we go for the arcane generators, that will give us extra income from all regions. So we grab that, and I'm thinking, we'll grab a Taskmaster's platform just for the public order. That's been done, all of these are relatively fine, we could get some more defenses, just in case. As for what I'm going to do with Itza, I am going to mainly focus on economy with the region, especially since it's got 4 regions in the province, and we'll be able to put something in all of that and boost it up with the arcane generators to get even more money. But if we can take advantage and maybe build one of the top tier buildings, so maybe go on here for a construction cavern or clan molders, monsters, or even go for another pox cauldron so we can boost it up that way. I think that could work, actually, and it's actually fairly cheap to do so. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that now. And actually, the other thing I needed to check was I think it's an Oxel, because we've skipped forward a couple of turns. Yes, we can actually upgrade this now to a level 5, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm not going to jump and spend any more money, really, because we already got a ton of stuff being built. We could upgrade here, though. Sure, we'll upgrade that at the Copper Desert. How much will that cost? We've got a Slave Wolf too, I guess. Oh, I could get defenses at the Dust Gate, but at the moment we're pretty okay. Although saying that, we actually got rebels outside. Bugger. Right, okay, let's take that. Right. Okay, what I'm actually going to do, let's go back to Itza a minute. Is there anything I can avoid not getting right away? So what, we'll skip that one. The reason being is that when we take Horlotl, I want to make sure that we've got the money to actually colonize it. So yeah, we'll give that a minute. Alright, Bubbarat. What am I going to give you? Let's give you thick-skinned. We can finish that off at least. It's tempting to go for a warpstone weapon. In fact, I don't see any reason why we can't go for that. Because I presume it's not a magical weapon, so it just gives us a boost, basic boost to our armor piercing damage. Sure, we'll go for that, because we still keep the corrosive blade for the poison attacks. So he now does poison, magical, and he has something like plus 50, almost, armor piercing weapon damage. Sure, we'll take that for you. Okay, slice in, we can give you immortality, we'll give you that straight away. And let's just focus on River for you. Lock Ishini, we only got 1 point for you. Let's go Slippery for that. Oh yeah, so another thing I was asked about is to have a look at the Kraken Lord's Dread Host. So they have 9 settlements. Now, excuse me game. Thank you. Right. Can I move it around now? Thank you. So most of them happen to be down here in this corner of Lustria. So eventually it could be in our interest to actually go after them. But if they're willing to improve our relations and become allies, then I'm okay about that. They do have one region here, and I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. 9. No? I don't know. Anyway, maybe one of these ones? No, that's Luther's Undead. I don't know. Anyway, they got 9. So, yeah, I'm happy with them being on board. What about Clan Squire? Are you willing to give me trade? No. Okay, that's worth a try. If they become weaker, we could look into potentially confederating with them as well. But we've got a little way to go before we have to think about something like that. Well, Locke here actually wants to offer military access. To be honest, at this moment in time, it's not really necessary, because the only place we would need to think about crossing over is actually up here. I mean, it has its uses, but then we can always use the underway like we've been doing. I will do it, just because it will help improve our relations more. I mean, it is already at 59, but by doing that... In fact, can we negotiate? Give me a defensive alliance on top. Perfect. Aye, that's going to make things much, much better for us. Oh, our grief is still around. I'll check the army out in our next turn just to see what we could be dealing with there. I feel sorry for the Altar of the Horned Rat. It's been under attack so many times. Oh. Okay. So Maggot Gorespitter has led an army of night goblins to attack Cyprus. Well, I'm not going to let him fight it, because it's a very one-sided battle if we did. So he can pull back. Ugh. It means if I want to colonize Huarlotto, I'm going to have to maybe send one of my armies over there instead. Well, that's annoying. Oh, what's this? While looting a minor lizardman commune, your lord finds a hidden door in the side of one of the pyramid temples. Inside is a brilliant sheet of metal carved with strange symbols. Your lord tries to stash it away, but too late, as the item has already caught your ever-watchful eye. So we have a few different options. We could either... Well, can't confiscate it, because we can't afford it. Yeah, perhaps not surprising. But we would have got our hands on chromatic armor. We could sell it, giving him extra experience and giving us some warpstone tokens which we would need. Or we can go for 35% research rate for 10 turns. Oh... To be honest, the money would be kind of useful, but we are going to be getting rid of Cyprus if we can't colonize Huarlotto. So I'm going to go ahead and copy the symbols. Get our hands on some extra research. So let's go through all of these. Right. So, let's first of all get rid of you. Now, there's only 363 there, but because of the extra supplies, it's already jumped down by nearly 2,000, so very useful. Right, let's get you over to here. That should give you a nice route straight up to the Great Little Isle there. So you do that. Now, let's see. Quetza is nearby, and I know that Marcus had been marching up this way when I last saw him. So, if we grab more Mel...
Master Engineer!
Might not be able to... Okay, well, let's gonna try something here. Let's bring you up.
Scurry forward!
Let's have a look-see. Right. So we've got some Chaos Army here. Crom Soul Shredder. What a name. And then Marcus as well. Right. Let's get Babarat to quickly move out here. We're going to see about maybe setting an ambush. If we can't, then we'll just send the two armies in to go and kill him. So you do that. You do that. Right. In terms of the money, what I'm going to have to do, I'm afraid, is cancel some of the buildings at Itza. So some of them have only got one turn. But the extra defenses, I think, will be... No, let's get rid of the Pox Cauldron. Oh, we might as well get rid of both of those then, I think. Right, that will secure that for a little bit at least. What I will do, though, because I noticed we are going to need it soon, I'm going to get some storage caves so we can get access to more food. Alright, so that's that. I mean, we could also upgrade this, but obviously not going to right away. Right, unsigned skill points, Alok Ishini. Let's give you... I think let's give you some extra speed, just to get you around the place a bit quicker. Garrett, still got a little way to go before we can even access any of the special skills here. So let's just focus on his combat abilities until we can upgrade something like the Brood Horror, Tide of Death. What's these again, by the way? Oh, at level 5, we can summon in rats. Okay. Definitely want to try and go for Tide of Pox then, it's more thematic. Alright, let's go for that. Do we have replenishment? No. Okay, let's just give you harder hits. Ickbolt, let's continue giving you elusive. Scalpake, we're going to give you now. I'm going to have to just basically give him all the campaign skills, just simply because he has nothing else to give. Right. So, despite the 100% chance, Bubble Rat unfortunately got spotted in his ambush. We got our assassin back. We got hallucinogenics. What a great way to spend an evening. Only messing. But it does improve our melee attack and leadership for our Plague Monk units. So next one, then, record effective recipes will give us an extra 2 levels for our Plague Priests. Combine that with Lord Skrolk's abilities, we'll be getting like level 8 to level 10 characters. Straight off the bat, that'll be pretty cool. Mormel's got Builder. Raid. So much raiding. Well, let's try and clear some of that up now with Skrolk. So we're going to go and attack the Great Turtle Isle first of all. Pretty one-sided fight. Goodbye. Okay, what do we get from that? Got a fair bit of food. I'll take that quite happily. But we'll take that too. That's given us a bit of extra leeway now with our income. Alright, let's go after the Chaos Army next. Okay, another ambush. There we go. Alright, what do we get from this one? Even more food. Get 900 warpstone tokens by doing this. Added to the 3000 we've already got. Okay, go for that. Picked up an alchemist now as well. Casualty replenishment 5% and poison attacks. Now admittedly the poison attacks ain't that big a deal for Skrolk. Although actually, it got contaminated and magical attacks, but it doesn't do poison. Okay. If we give him that then, not only will he have poison attacks, I presume, or I don't know, does he? Just says contaminated. I don't know if that's a variation of poison or it happens to be something else. Because picking that, maybe it's just hidden. But the casualty replenishment in any case would be quite nice. And let's give you Talisman of Preservation now, thinking about it. And for this, well, keep that for the moment. There we go. Right, so your next job is to make your way up, probably either to Harlotl, or you can continue up towards the pillars. So, looks like the quickest way would be to go this way. Well, we can land on the beach here, I presume, and then push up. Well, in any case, let's just get you going at Force March. You can at least head over to the Chamber of Visions. So you can do that. Let's go now and deal with the thing. We'll send Mormel to start the initial assaults. We're going to send both armies in. That way we can easily get the... Oh my god. That's a one-sided fight. Jesus. It's good thing we're sending in both armies then. Right. What does he have again? Huh. To be honest, that's really not that fearsome, you know? Like, yeah, they got a whole bunch of shooting units, but the swordsmen we can easily deal with the armies, what we got in our armies. And all these shooting units will be like crap if we got them in melee. The only real thing to worry about is these characters, because I have no idea how good they are, but I imagine some of them, like this guy, Roderick Languil, has got really good stats. I mean, looking at some of them, like Kalara here, melee attack 73. It's ridiculous. Zintler's Reichsguard could also have been a slight problem, but let's have a look.
They will die.
Even with both armies, it's still telling me that I have only got like 50-50 chance. Oh, that is crazy. That is absolutely crazy. You know what? Fine. If they are going to insist that I might not be able to win this with an auto-resolve, you know what? Let's fight it. We better check out some of our new monsters. And, yeah, no, hang on. No, I need to be my thing. I am trying to cut down the length of times in the videos. You know what? Well, we'll come back to that in a little bit. We'll give them a turn. Maybe we can weaken them down or something. While we do that, let's get you then to explore over here. Skrolk's moved. Mormel's moved. Right. We can actually use the opportunity now with the income we do have. If we head down to the Dust Gates, we can actually upgrade the Golden Colossus to the next level. You're becoming even more stronger, which is a slight problem. But in one turn, we'll actually have proper defenses there. Sure, we'll grab that as well. May as well. Yeah. I honestly think it'll be best... Let's go, actually. Did we not pick up the one for... Oh yeah, we did. Diplomatic relations. Let's go for Seeker with you, then. Yeah, I'm not too worried about the charge bonus. But yeah. Yeah, I would like to try and fight this battle myself, simply because I think it'll be a good opportunity to check out the new monsters we've got with Mormel's army. And having Bubble Rat nearby just to provide some extra support should be more than enough to deal with it. I'm still surprised about how the balance bar is so much, you know, despite having 2 full stacks, there's no way that army is worth as much as my armies combined, you know? But, yeah, we'll see what happens in the next episode. So guys, let's leave it here for now. Thank you all for watching today's one. I hope you did enjoy. I know you do join me next time, of course, for some more Warhammer. But until then, everybody, take care, stay safe, and goodbye for now.